It is no surprise that everyone who moves to a new country for school, work, or anything in between is very concerned about living expenses. In some countries, 100 euros is just fine. In some countries, 500 euros, that's the bare minimum. My name is Brian Spencer, and I'm currently a student in France. This is my real cost of living in France. I have been living and most importantly spending in France over the past year, and there are some months with extremely high expenses and others without. This, yes, is influenced by what I decide to spend, but in some cases is also influenced by hidden costs, the administration, and other stuff. Let's get into the video. First thing, housing. We're going to get right into the rent and utilities. For me, I have a 9 meter square, as you can see, and I pay 430 euros for this 9 meter square. It is a co-location, which simply means I share the house with other people. So I have three flatmates, sorry. And we have a shared living space and a shared washroom and bathroom as well. Everyone is in their own little room just like mine, and for 430 euros, to be honest, it's not bad. But as I said in one of my previous videos, there is CAF, which is like a family fund for students as well, where you get refunded a part of your rent. In my case, I get refunded 196 euros, which brings my actual rent to 234. Speaking about utilities, it depends on your, sorry, I've forgotten the word for propriétaire in English. Landlord. So it depends on your landlord. If your landlord is interested in adding the charges to your rent, you don't have to pay for utilities or like we call it charges, extra charges. But if it is separate from your rent, you have to keep paying on your own. So next is food and groceries. I personally do not eat out a lot, and when I do, it's usually during the weekends, and I spend about 20 euros because I cook a lot. So when it's time for me to go out to eat, I have enough to spend. That being said, I cook a lot and I cook in bulk as well. For example, every single time I go for grocery shopping, I grocery shop for 2 whole weeks, and that costs about 45 euros. A greater part of the 45 euros goes to proteins such as beef, chicken, and stuff. And that takes about 25 to 30 euros, and the remaining 15 to 20 euros goes to carbs, veggies, and basically some other snacks as well. I usually shop at Lidl and Leclerc. I find the cheapest and I keep shopping there. So it's as simple as that. So for the whole month, I spend about 90 to 100 euros on groceries. That's only because I cook a lot. Next is transportation expenses. For some context, my workplace is a 20-minute walk from here, and my school is 35 minutes walk from here as well. I usually prefer to walk to work, and for school, I use the public transport. I currently pay 31 euros and 50 cents because I have the under 26 discounts. And for school, that's for school. And for work, I usually walk to work. I do not have a bike at the moment, but usually if I'm to buy a bike, that would cost me about 20 euros per month if I put myself on a payment plan. All right, next is study materials. My course is an IT course, so most of the coursework is on my laptop or my phone most of the time, and that's what I use. But I did have to buy some exercise books and some like workbooks just for myself. I'm going to show you that quickly. So I got all this, and I got some more, but I'm not going to show you. So I got all this for about 30 euros. But the good thing is you do not have to buy more than once. In my case, a master's student, I don't do a lot of writing. It's more about projects. So I will not have to buy these books again this year. Now, social life and entertainment. To be very honest, in my very first year in France, I did not go out a lot. I went out like once every 3 months because I was trying to save 200% of my income. And I mean, guys have to pay for every entry. You go to any bar, you have to pay for an entry. My recent trip to Budapest, I went to one of the clubs and it was totally free. I miss Budapest, my goodness. But that being said, I spent about 25 euros on general entertainment, maybe going to see a movie every once in a while. It is in French, by the way, so you might not enjoy it as much. But yeah, 25 euros is not so bad. It's a range between 15 and 20 if you're someone who goes out a lot, and if you're someone who parties a lot, that might increase. Okay, let's check our running total for now. First thing, we have rent, which is 430 minus 196, which brings us to 234. That is in my case. We run it up to about a cool 240. And then we have food and groceries, which takes about 100 euros per month. So get that. And we then go for transportation, which in my case is 31.50. School materials was about 30 euros for the entire year, so we're just going to put about 250 as well. And for social life and entertainment, we have about 25 euros per month. So currently we are close to 400 euros already. Let's get back to the video. Psych, I have no sponsors for this video, but you can sponsor this video by subscribing and liking, and you can change your mind anytime. There are a lot of new subscribers on here, and I just wanted to make a quick presentation. My name is Brian Spencer Baden, and I'm currently studying in France. I make videos on studying in France, productivity, living in France, and a bit of lifestyle as well. I created this little segment just for annual course because obviously they're not a part of the monthly course, but they are also quite important even as we are starting a new academic year. The very first one is the civic, which is the contribution to student life on campus, students life and campus living, something like that sort. It's 103 euros and it's paid annually at the start of every academic year. The second is your visa renewal or visa approved, your visa confirmation or your titre de séjour renewal. That's when you have been in France already with your very first student visa and you want to renew it. The renewal costs about 75 euros and the initial visa confirmation is 50 euros. The third annual cost is deposit, and this is usually related to your rent and utilities. For example, I pay rent of 430 euros. My rent without my utilities is 380 euros. Sorry, I pay rent of 430 euros and my rent and utilities is 380 euros. When you book, when you get a new apartment, you pay 1 month or 2 months of rent without charges to your landlord. They keep the money until you're about to leave and they come and check for like anything that's been destroyed or messed up, and then they fix that and give you the remainder of the money. But in my case, my landlord did not take any deposit whatsoever. So yeah, it depends on your landlord, your city, and a lot of other things in between. But usually it should be 1 month or 2 months worth of rent without charges. So that is the end of this little segment. So I'm going to go back to the video. Another very important category is subscriptions. My first subscription is Libera, which is my mobile plan. I pay $9.99 per month for it, which gives me 250 gigabytes of data, unlimited text, and unlimited calls. In cases where I have to travel, like I did in my recent trip to Budapest, I had free roaming data without having to like subscribe to a new plan. That was about 10 gig per week. And then there is Spotify, which I spent 5 euros on. I also have iCloud storage for €1 because I create some short form content. Because I create some short form content as well on my phone, just for like the portraits and stuff like that. I also go to the gym and I spend $24.99 on that per month. That is the cheapest plan they do have. And it's really beneficial. You have unlimited access to all the clubs in France as you want. Okay, so now hidden fees. The only hidden fee I have found out about is the banking fees. They deduct like a month. It's not even monthly, it's about every other month, or yeah, it's like every other month. They deduct about €2.60 from your bank for like basic bank transactions and stuff. You are not told about this when you're opening a bank account, but I'm just letting you guys know these are some things that come up. Some banks take about €5, some take about €10. It really depends on your bank and the type of account you have. If you are a student, always opt for the student account. It's usually discounted and cheaper. In my case, I pay €2.6. The last category is the miscellaneous and non-essential. I spend about 40 euros on protein powder and other supplements to help me with my fitness journey, but there are some other costs that may come up. I think generally we all have those kind of costs, which will range between 0 and 50 euros per month, so you can add that to it. But yeah, I almost forgot. Cleaning materials and toiletries take about 5 euros as well, like a tube of toothpaste every now and then, a new toothbrush, body lotion, stuff like that, about 5 euros. That does it. Okay, after calculating everything, I am a bit surprised by the amount, but I think it's reasonable as well, given the fact that I have added so many things like the gym and some miscellaneous stuff to it. But anyway, we have 240 euros for rent, bringing our grand total to 527 euros and 60 cents. To be very honest, I think there's a bit on the high side. If you take out the gym and the supplements from it, that's about 60 euros more, which still brings us about 440, which is quite reasonable. To be very honest, I was expecting it to be a bit higher, but it makes sense. It works out because there are some other stuff like Miscellaneous, the gym, and then 80 euros on like going out, which is actually quite normal. And yeah, it's fine. So if you're here for work or you want to move to France for work, I think if you have a job, this shouldn't be so much of a problem. Again, this can change given your the city you live in and maybe like where you basically find yourself. I live in the north of France where things are slightly cheaper. So I just want to give you guys a bit of like a real behind the scenes. Okay, it's not behind the scenes, just something more real. To be very honest with you, I think you can live off 350 euros per month. Yes, that is really pushing it. That means you're cooking every single day. You are using the least resources possible. You're getting a very small apartment or like really little stuff. And then for 350 euros, I think you should be fine. In my very first year, when I wasn't going to the gym, when I wasn't doing all these extra stuff, obviously I wasn't going out to eat every once in a while. I spend close to about 400 euros a month, which I would say is the normal expense. But as you grow more comfortable, as you have a job, as you have like done internships like I have, you should be fine to kind of like start to slowly ease into more expenses. But the bare minimum that you need, I would say, is about between 350 and 400 euros. So that's it. But yeah, that is the video, and thank you so much for watching my video on the living expenses here in France. I might have to update this later on because there are a lot of changes, but thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe and like the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Au revoir. I have been living in mostly what? School is 30. Another very important part